Hey guys, welcome to Shenke Garage. So it's been a couple years since the slab was poured, the shed was built, sealed the concrete, built all the workbenches. So I just wanted to make a video on how everything is holding up. But before we get into the video, if you want to help support the channel, head over to the Shenke Garage merch store. I'll put a link in the show notes below. So we'll jump straight into video and hope you enjoy. Okay, as you can see, the shed is empty. The project car is at the motor trimmers and I've got a bit of downtime. I kind of don't know what to do with myself, so I thought I'd make this episode. I've been meaning to make this episode for a little while, but I just haven't had the chance with the HX1 tonner build just taking up so much time. So it's been roughly about 2 years since all this was built, and I just wanted to talk about how everything is all holding up. So I guess to start out with, we'll start with the concrete slab. Now, I can't see any major issues with the concrete slab. There's no cracking. I did see one little crack here. It hasn't gone all the way through. And I think that's just from when you drive the car up. There is quite a bit of a ledge there when you drive the car up. But yeah, that's about the only cracking that I can see with the slab. So the slab itself is holding up really well. Now there is one annoying thing with the slab, and I guess this comes down to the people that done the slab, but it does pull up in the middle. So when you squirt out the shed with the water, it does all pull up in the middle. There's no kind of runoff that goes out to the front. So that is pretty annoying, but I don't really squirt it out that often. I just mainly use the broom, occasionally just squirt it out, but it's not the end of the world. It's just an annoying thing. Now with the concrete sealer, as you can see, it is just not held up very well at all. You can see areas where I've done a lot of working in the one spot. So all this is all back to the concrete. It's all flaked off. The tonner sat sort of in here, and you can see all along here where it's all flaked off where I've been working. So it hasn't been very durable. Now, the stuff that I used is called NewTek Pave Coat, and I don't actually think it's this product that's at fault here. I done a bit of research and a lot of guys reckon this stuff was really good. But I reckon what the biggest issue was is when I applied it, I only waited for about 30 days once the slab was poured and then I applied it. I'm pretty sure you're meant to leave it for a good 2 or 3 months before you apply the sealer over the top of poured concrete. And also when I did apply the sealer, it was a very wet and damp week. There was a lot of moisture in the air. So I think the concrete would have been fairly damp, and obviously if you've got dampness in the concrete, the sealer is just not going to soak in and stick to the concrete very well. So I think that's what the issue was. I was just in such a rush to get it applied so I could start making all the benches and everything. But yeah, it is what it is. I'll probably end up applying another coat at some point, just sand it all back and start again at one point. But for the most part, it is what it is, I suppose. Now to seal up the edge of the concrete to the cladding here, I ended up using this stuff called Sikaflex Pro. And it comes in concrete grey, or you can get it in different colours, but that stuff has turned out really bloody good. As you can see, there's just nothing that's going to get through there because it's flexible. It just flexes with the cladding and the concrete, and yeah, there's not one crack or any sort of opening that's come up through there. Yeah, it's worked out really bloody good. You can get that foam stuff that inserts in there, but I don't think that stuff's very good. I think over time, mice eat it and weeds grow up through it. It doesn't really seal it off completely. So it was definitely worthwhile doing that. It was a pretty costly sort of a job. I can't remember how many of these sausages I ended up using, but it was quite a few. And to be honest, it was an absolute fucking shit job to do. I think it was a good 12 hours. I just started up one end, 6 in the morning. I didn't finish till sort of 6 at night. And yeah, it was a bloody shit job, but it was well worth it, I reckon. Now with the shed kit or the structure itself, now this shed was from Best Sheds, but it's all holding up really well. I can't really fault anything. I've gone around and looked over it and I can't see any issues at this point. I do have a fair bit of weight sort of hanging off, extra weight hanging off the walls and stuff, but for the most part, it's all holding up pretty well. Now with the rain. We had a fair bit of rain here in Brisbane about a month ago. It pretty much flooded. I'm sure everyone's aware of it. There was a little bit of water that got in here. I'm not sure exactly where it come from, but when it rains, just normal rain, I'd never see any sort of water coming in, but we had like 5 days of heavy, constant rain, and there was a little bit that got in here, but for the most part, it stays pretty dry in here. Now, there is one issue. So up in the ridge cap here, there gets like little gaps in between the ridge cap and the roof. And what happens is the dirt and leaves and stuff falls onto the roof here, and then the wind must catch it and sort of push it up into the ridge cap, and then it comes through them gaps and then just falls. So yeah, when you have your car parked here, you leave it for a couple of days, you come back and there's sort of dirt and leaves and stuff sitting on the roof of the car. So yeah, that's kind of annoying. So you can just kind of see I've got tape sort of taping that up, but that's only just a temporary sort of fix. So what I'll do is I'll use that Sikaflex. I'll go along that ridge cupping and seal all that off with that Sikaflex. And I think that's gonna sort that issue out. Now with the roller doors, they came with the shed kit, but when I ordered them, I didn't bother with the electric motors, and I was just using them manually, lifting them up and down manually. But I ended up getting these electric motors installed afterwards, and what a bloody good investment they are. Definitely well worth getting them installed. Just makes life a hell of a lot easier. And then yeah, you click the button and it's got a little LED in there as well, so when you drive the car in, it sort of lights up the shed in the dark, and so you can kind of see what you're doing. And yeah, they're relatively quiet as well. But yeah, definitely well worth getting them installed. Now, when it comes to the cooling, I never ended up adding anything when I got this shed built, and I was working in here for quite a while, and it would just get so bloody hot. But what was happening was the air would come in through the roller doors and just get sort of trapped down this corner of the workshop, and it would just get so hot in here. So I ended up adding in a Whirlybird, and that was about 150 bucks from Bunnings, and I installed that myself. They're pretty easy to install, but it definitely made a difference. It just allows the air to come in through the roller doors and then get sucked up through the Whirlybird, so it doesn't get so stuffy. And I ended up adding a few of these wall-mounted fans as well. So I like the wall-mounted ones. I don't really like pedestal fans because it just takes up floor space. So if you can mount things on the wall, it just gives you more floor space. And I think they were about 120 bucks or something like that from Bunnings, and they flow a fair bit of air. They work really well actually. So I'll probably end up putting another couple in over this end of the workshop as well. And also one other thing is I never ended up getting insulation put in, which was a bit of a fuck up on my behalf. I should have got it added in. It just would have made a hell of a lot difference. At least putting insulation on the roof. The walls probably would help a bit, but definitely the roof would make a big difference as well. So I'll probably end up doing some insulation later on down the track. Now with the air compressor, this thing's a couple of years old as well. And to be honest, I've neglected this thing. I haven't really given it much love at all. It needs a good cleanup. It's got a heap of overspray on it from when the car got painted, and I've never given it a service since I bought it. So it does need a little bit of love, but for the most part, it's worked really, really well. It's done everything that I've needed it to do while building the car, with all the air tools and all that. Now this one is a 3 horsepower, 90 litre with a free air delivery of 320 litres per minute. And yeah, this is a pretty good size for everything I've needed it to do. If anything, it does struggle with orbital sanders. Now orbital sanders flow a lot of air through them, and it does sort of struggle. It does the job, but it keeps running. It doesn't stop running when you use an orbital sander. And on hot days, it's sort of working overtime, and it has tripped the circuit breaker a couple of times. So you just let it cool down and hit the circuit breaker, and it runs again. So yeah, bigger is always better, but I guess for your budget's always good to get one that's got the highest free air delivery you can for your budget. Okay, so this welding table was one of the first things I made when I started the channel. So I did actually make a video a couple of years ago on how I made this. So I'll put it up in the top right hand corner. So click on that, that'll take you to that video. Now bear in mind it is a pretty shit video. It was very earlier on in the piece when I first started the channel. This thing has been the most versatile piece of tooling. I absolutely fucking love this table. It's just been so handy to being able to roll it around to your different work areas. It's got the extensions here as well, so these still slide in really nicely, in and out. You can lock them out. It's got the it's got these bolts here, so you can lock that out. So it's got extension on each end. You can put the cold cut saw in there, and that's the same height as the bench top, so you can put that in there and cut steel on the top. This has also been quite handy to be able to put panels and hold it in place as well, so you can obviously adjust that to wherever you need, and you can put the panels and stuff in there to hold them. It's got all the slats, so you can clamp stuff to the top here. It's just been a really awesome table to work with. Now, as far as how everything's holding up on it, it's getting a little bit of surface rust on the top here. I do need to resurface the top. It's been a couple years since I've done that, so I'll do that soon. And it's still holding up really well. It still seems to be relatively flat as well, so I've just got this straight edge I'll put over the top here. But it still seems to be really straight. It's probably never going to be like aerospace grade flat, but it's not as if I'm going to be making aeroplane parts on there anyway, so it's just going to still do fine for what I'm going to use it for anyway. Now with the rest of the benches, these are still holding up really well. So these are made out of all steel bench tops, made out of 3mm sheet on the top here. Starting to get a little bit of surface rust, so these will need to be resurfaced as well at some point. It's been a couple of years or so. The working height has been really good. So these are 905mm in height. So it's a perfect height for me. And just one thing is, when I did build all these benches, I made sure all of them are at the same height. So if you do need to weld bigger projects and stuff together, you can use, obviously this bench is going to be the same height. So you can see all that is all the same height. So like I said, I've been meaning to make this video for a while, and I'll probably start making a few more videos on some shed organisation and upgrades and a few projects I want to start doing as well. So if you do like that content, then let me know in the show notes below. And if you want to sort of see the very start of the channel and the shed building the benches, all that sort of stuff, I'll put a card up in this corner here, and it's a playlist of sort of all that shed organisation and setup sort of videos. But if you like what I do, you want to help support the channel, hit the subscribe button, the bell notification as well to give you alerts on when a new video comes out. Leave a comment as well, and we'll see you next time on Shenke Garage. Cheers.